Yep. So that's not just a little bit, that's a lot of it. What, you got a better way of saying it? You're over there laughing at me.
Because I'm on the same page too.
And this is where I wanted to really show these guys. This is the next level of the next level right here as we look at the neck, how you build that. The tubular frame going down.
There's not anybody that's doing it in a fender style trailer like this. Every time you weld that, you compartmentalize it, more or less. So we could weld it there and weld it there. You know, if you welded it halfway, well, you've still got that twist factor there right here in this big section that you didn't weld.
Right.
So when we do it right here, we weld it all the way down. That way, that gives you the most torque out of that.
Now, are you saying nobody else is doing that?
To my knowledge, no. After this video, probably yeah.
All right, guys, Tim, Alex, and I are down in Missouri. We came down here to buy a dump trailer, but
Ended up getting the I want us for something else. This guy right here.
the I want us.
Fell in love with a what kind of trailer?
All right, wait. We're not going to give it away. We're actually going to show you the reason we fell in love because we watched how they built it. And it's unlike any other equipment trailer we've ever seen. So
Never seen nothing like it.
never. And we're going to show you exactly what they do, how they do it. But we're Rice Manufacturing out of Missouri. So let's just dive right into today's video. All right, guys, we're at Rice Trailer in Missouri, right?
Yep.
And the guys, this is Josh. He's the owner. He's the developer of the system that we're going to see because they build trailers differently.
A little bit different, yeah.
Yes, and it's what Josh has been teaching Alex, Tim, and I is it's all about the attention to the detail, that the small things make a big difference when they're all added together. Am I saying this right, Josh?
Yeah, the attention to detail is the biggest thing. I mean, anybody can make a trailer, and you see it everywhere, but it's really what goes into it, the process behind it, and seeing it in real person, you know?
That you make is made right here in Missouri by actual welders.
Absolutely.
But you do this marriage of automation with skilled technicians, and what you're doing with the automation is you're taking the tedious, mind-numbing job portion of the job away.
Yeah.
And you're keeping your skilled technicians on the things where it matters the most.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so I say that because it's not about the robots taking jobs away from people, it's the robots making it so that they can focus on the things that are most important.
Well, we're enabling, more or less.
Okay.
So the more that we can do with the robot, the more that we do out here. So
Okay.
that's the more people we need out here.
All right.
And we're hiring right now.
And if you're in Missouri, near Rice Trailers, but now we're going to go through and look at all the little things
Absolutely.
that make for a better trailer.
So this is one of our newest models, the dump. So this is 7x14 dump, and we'll just start at the back right here because we kind of looked outside. It's just the small stuff like here. So there's not one piece in here that isn't processed either by a laser, essentially by a laser. Everything's cut with a laser. There's not one piece in here that we saw. There's not one piece in here. Everything that has a hole in it, it's for a purpose. So these are all laser cut parts. So 6x2 main frame. This is your bed frame. It's cut. Heavy duty hinges. That hinge is wrapped in that frame. So that's all laser cut beforehand. Go back
What
here.
are you saying other guys are doing, Josh?
Well, they'll slap it just right on the back.
And just weld it on the back?
Yeah.
Okay, so if I understand this,
Well, they'll weld it on the back and they'll put a gusset. So essentially they might weld it, they might gusset it, and hey, that might be fine. But what we wanted to do is use a super heavy duty 20K hinge on this thing and then put that into the frame. That way, if it comes off, it was meant to come off. I'll put it that way. Because
you're breaking the frame.
Exactly.
You're breaking the frame at that point.
Yeah, you're breaking.
Okay, so it's not like two pieces of metal are welded together like this.
No.
You actually have a system where, because that's the way most trailers are made. They're just one piece is welded to another piece, but your system uses tabs.
Yeah, tab and slot.
Tab and slot, dovetail is what Frankie likes to do, but what these guys are doing with their trailers is like this, marrying it together and then welding all the way around that to create this instead of this.
Yeah, so
that's
we'll
the
show
simplest
you.
way I can
even
see
right
that.
here, even right here on the back. You can't see it because this is already welded. But when this bumper, we'll cut to it over there. But when this bumper is just in its raw state, it'll have all these little holes in here, and that is for positioning. That way, this distance here is the same every time. You know, and that's the thing with cutting it on a laser. All of our parts are exactly the same. Within, I don't know how many decimal points we need to go back, but they're very accurate.
And so the tabs don't allow you to get off on your measurements.
No.
So the tabs don't allow, so you gotta be on.
Even back here, 45 corner. Okay, so when this thing, if it does get any water in it, when you tilt it, it's all gonna run down the back. Instead of a butt weld right there, where if you had a straight saw cut, it's just gonna bump into it, your water is gonna collect there, and you'd have to have either a weep hole or something right there.
Yeah.
It's just the little things like that, and even like this piece here. So that's our cam lock. So our cam lock's gonna go over there. This tube, which is the sleeve of this rod here, that's all the way through that. So we've got a 3.5, 4-inch piece right there versus just right like essentially if you had a channel, you're just gonna have a single hole right there.
And you also even do, even your tie down strips, you do different, instead of just slapping this on the side and welding it on the outside so it looks like you got a big gaudy weld, you stick it all the way through.
Absolutely.
And it makes for a smoother hook all the way down. So it's a lot of structural, it's a lot of measuring, and some of it's aesthetics, just to try to make it a little better.
Yeah, just a little different too.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that this is any stronger than if you welded on the outside.
Right.
It's probably not, but like you said, it's probably harder to copy. And the whole thing behind this dump trailer is one, we wanted to build it heavy, but we also wanted to build it out of tubing. Because tubing doesn't twist like your channel or anything like that. So that's our main goal behind this, is to have something that when you get a roll in there that's off-centered or whatever, so that's your twist factor, you're going to take that out with the tube. And then it comes back to the whole working part of this, is the hinge.
I want to ask my boys, now you guys were saying, and we're not going to throw anybody under the bus, don't name names, but one of our other trailers, you were saying you could grab the sides and shake the entire bed.
When you ratchet strap your equipment on the inside, you can actually see the bed folded in like that, like a...
Okay, so what do you do to keep that from happening?
So this is your top rail right here, and it all comes down to a 6x2 mainframe right here. So this is all welded, so the second that it's not going to twist in or torque in. So it's all tubing. So if you had formed sides, and then some people even, like your 8-inch beam, you'll have your beam right here, your mainframe sits on the inside, and then the frame comes out past it. So that's going to give a lot of torque on that, and there's no way to really stop that. So the way we do it right here is we build it like this. Essentially, it's a little higher off the ground finished product, but then we negate that by putting drops on it. So essentially, it's the same thing.
Okay.
And you can build in a 14K drop or an 8K or a 16K. Whenever we build trailers, I know it's more weight and all of that, but at the end of the day, we look at it as the life of the trailer. Okay. So you can have a throwaway trailer. Sure, I could take all the material out of this, tell you that it's just as strong, and then you could haul another 200-300 pounds in it. But in my opinion, I think you need that 200 or 300 pounds. That way you get years of life versus a year of life. Yeah. You know, we don't build throwaway trailers. We just don't, and I'm not going to, you know. I put my name on every one of them, so there's no point in building something subpar. I'm just not going to do it, and there's too much going on here. Just too much going on.
All right, so this is that unique design that allows these guys, as you say, you don't have to measure. The tabs require you to have the exact same thing every single time, right, Josh?
Right. And this isn't something we just adopted in the dumps. It's throughout all of our products here. We try to do all of that. So we'll walk over here. So essentially we build these things where the frame is built in one spot, the bed's built in another, everything gets married, the tongue is built over here, it all gets married on that line. So essentially, here's your raw bumper. Better shot of that one. These are just sitting on the floor. See that? Tabs on in. Well, this is all every
So
single piece.
this whole thing is your bumper.
So even your bed frame back here, it tabs into this bumper.
So these are the tabs he's talking about.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's where you got to actually physically go through
It's like a puzzle piece, like a
like
jigsaw.
a jigsaw
Yeah.
puzzle, ties it together, welds it
Absolutely.
all the way around, and this can't happen unless this breaks.
You could, well, here's the main thing about it, is that it's going to be in the same spot every time. So you're not going to have a door that's lower or higher or anything like that, because all of this is cut, like I said, on a tube laser. You pull a tape on them, they're all the same. If you cut this on a saw, you might have your blade walking on you or whatever. We don't have blades on lasers, they don't walk. So essentially all of this is going to be tabbed. Even this bumper right here tabs into this to set the height for that. It happens everywhere on this trailer. So these guys can essentially build this trailer without a tape measure.
So there is no way for any deflection, because I've seen hand-built trailers before where they're measuring, they're doing this, and I'm watching it going, boy, you got to have a lot of skill and you got to have a lot of trust in the
Right.
individual person making that trailer. And if he went out drinking the night before, it's not going to be the same as the day before if he was sharpening on ball.
Exactly. And
Okay.
the biggest thing too is, it just won't fit. It won't fit. Like, it can't be built wrong because it won't fit. So we're just taking that error side of it out of there. And then along with that, we've got so many inspection processes along the way. Even come on to the end of the line, it gets inspected before paint, after paint, or after powder, should I say. A lot of people, we'll get on that subject later. But we even check it when it comes out of the paint booth. So we have guys physically running a mill gauge on each one.
Let's go look at the tabs. So I actually want to show these guys what the tabs look like. All right, so we're going to look at the tabs. So this is before, because you can't really see these tabs once the trailer's built, because they flush
So this
right
is your
together.
dovetail to a deck over gooseneck trailer. So we're building this thing. It's all built, this all 1/4-inch plate. And then that's your tab and slots. So you can even see on this one too, we want these tabs in a spot because our 3x2 angle that goes on the dovetail is going to slide up against these. And if you notice, this one's, say, 1 inch. This one down here is 3 inches. So they can't flip that part around. That way, this is always going to be the same.
So that's the neck.
That's your neck on your Pro Max out there.
Okay.
This is completely built in here. This is done, ready to come out. But that's kind of what's behind it right there.
God, look at that.
Four wall,
That's a lot of beef in that, isn't it?
all laser cut off.
Look, that's just the neck.
Yeah. And this is what's cool about doing things like that. That's a great way.
That is, I don't know why that's just, I think that's amazing.
I think that's one of the coolest things I've seen on a trailer, honestly.
Yeah. That looks like that should be on a, not a bumper pull, but a gooseneck.
Well, essentially it is. It's a mini gooseneck that hooks to your bumper. That's essentially what it is.
So you have trailers that can go into that market, but then you have the trailers for the guys that are in this for the marathon and not the sprint that don't want to be messing around swapping them out.
Right. If you need a trailer, we've got one for you. Your premier trailer, kind of like that, and then we'll have them all the way down to like some of these out here. This is just your generic 14K flatbed right here. It's a 14,000 pound trailer. It's still built nice, but it's channel mainframe. It's going to look sharp rolling down the road, but we're 6-inch channel here on your mainframe. Just your standard 2-foot dub and 5-foot stand-up ramps.
Would you call that a Me Too trailer, kind of, Josh, or am I wrong? I don't know. I'm asking.
Kind of, yeah.
I'm asking for a friend.
Yeah, I would say this is there's just so much that goes into it that's different, So
Even on this one.
every one that we build is so much different.
So
than what a lot
so
of
on the Me Too kind of trailers, are you still using those tabs? Are you still using the same process?
Yeah, we'll integrate a lot of that stuff into these. Now, a lot of this stuff has already been engineered and it's proven. So the one thing that we try not to do is don't mess something up if it's already working. We'll do little tweaks here and there to make it more aesthetic, but we just got to make sure that when the aesthetics, we don't want to change it too much to where we're creating issues for ourselves, because this is proven, has a good track record, and we've had minimal failures on this stuff. So we don't want to change you know, kind of the core, more or less.
Okay.
That's why we come in, essentially when we do stuff, we bring out new models instead of changing our current, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Yeah.
even
So
like
we're looking at 3 equipment trailers right here, right?
yeah, so this is actually a car hauler, so it's got the slide out ramps on it.
Some guys use them for equipment.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, that's how I got started.
Yeah.
I mean, it was cheap, it was there, and
How many times you change the axles on it?
yeah, she didn't last long. I said started, not
Yeah.
continued. So we've got a car hauler, you've got an equipment trailer with the standard neck, and then you've
This one's a little bit different.
Okay.
So this is that one over there is your 14K standard. Okay. It's got a 6-inch channel, 8.2 pounds a foot mainframe on it.
okay.
You come to this one, this is a 6-inch, 11.5 pound mainframe on this one. So this is a 16K trailer, 2/8 go on in.
Okay.
And we'll show you the 8Ks that we're using now versus what some people are using, calling a hybrid 8K. We're using true 8K, 2.5-inch brakes on it. It's a true 8K.
Were you saying other people aren't doing that?
Right. No. It's
What
a
is it-
product
what
of
are they
Dexter.
doing?
So we essentially, we're all Dexter axle. That's all we use.
Okay.
Because we've had the best luck with them over the years.
Okay.
Had the least amount of failures. So that's really
Got
what they
it.
wanna
So
stick with.
Dexter's the way to go with for you guys, right?
For us, yeah, and I
Okay.
think their manufacturing process and just the tracking behind their products is probably a little bit better than everybody.
So now as we look at this one, the neck, and that's a different trailer as we're seeing from over there, right?
Yeah. So this is a 16K. So this one right here, and it's just essentially everything's kind of beefed up on it. Got quarter wall fenders on it. This thing's made to take a beat. It's got bigger ramps on it. Yeah. So your ramps. This was our old deck over style ramps. So we just converted to use them on this. But you got your 2-foot dub on this. It's just a heavier duty version of our 14K flatbed.
Okay.
And then when you come over here, that fixture that we were looking in there, this is our Pro Max.
Now this is where
Now this
this stopped Alex in his tracks. So this is really where this is like what premier. I mean, this is
Yeah.
like the best of the best anywhere.
This is your super duty. This is your King Ranch. This is it right here.
All right. And this is where I wanted to really show these guys. This is the next level of the next level right here as we look at the neck, how you build that. The tubular frame going down.
Yeah,
And
so-
other guys use that, but they'll put one weld in the front, slide it through, and go
Well,
all
as
the way
far as
back.
I know, there's not anybody that's doing it in a fender style trailer like this. So this is a fender style, it's lower to the ground. A lot of people do it in the deck over, where your deck's over the wheels.
Yeah.
But with this, we've integrated that into these. So these are 3/16 cross members, and that's all integrated and welded on every single one of them. You'll see it
So
down there.
every one of these is welded all the way around.
Yes.
So that goes all. Does it go all the way through?
All the way to the back. Yep.
So that's one tube, one solid tube that goes all the way through.
Yep.
So it's not individual pieces
No,
welded.
No, that's one solid piece that goes, and every time you weld that, you compartmentalize it, more or less. So we could weld it there and weld it there. You know, if you welded it halfway, well, you've still got that twist factor there right here in this big section that you didn't weld.
Right.
So when we do it right here, we weld it all the way down. That way, that gives you the most torque out of that.
Now, are you saying nobody else is doing that?
To my knowledge, no. After this video, probably yeah. But
They
Yeah.
learn a better way of doing it. Trust me, they do watch. I hear it all
well,
the time.
here's the thing, and that's the part. That's why this is kind of a premier trailer. This takes longer to do. Every single one of these have to be laser cut, rather than you can saw cut those 3-inch channels. You know, the 3-inch channel cross members. It's been a staple in the industry forever. You can saw those and throw them in there, and you're good. This thing, it's just a lot of automation involved behind these trailers. You know, so that's what it boils down to. Then an 8 by 15 pound mainframe on it. And then see, we have to make all of these, like these stake pockets. We make those. Those are all quarter wall stake pockets. They're heavier, and you can get a big strap.
And here's the high quality axles that he's talking about right there.
Yeah, those are beauties. Huh?
Aren't they
Roll
awesome?
those down.
So those are the inner yard axles. Just so you guys know, in case you're not familiar with it, when these guys are moving these around, the trailer will go hop on that, then it'll go. This just stays right here, never goes down the road. I just want to be clear. This is not what they put for axles.
I hope not.
Some guys, some
Some
guys have never been able to see a manufacturing process and would maybe mistake that. I want to be clear.
So these are all roll arounds. So
roll
that's the other thing too. So since we do powder coat, we bake at about 400 degrees.
Okay.
We can't run the axles through there.
Right.
And some people still do, which
Wait,
is not
what?
good. Yeah.
You can't. Because when you powder coat, you gotta bake. You gotta bake the. You gotta pre-bake it. Then you gotta.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of heat involved in it. So even down to the grease that's in the bearings, you'll have some of that kind of start coming out a little bit if you do it. And then your axle wires will get melted together.
Yeah, your seals get.
And then your truck's going to start throwing, error codes at you because your brake system's failing on it.
So you just do the raw frame, nothing's on it?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we axle everything after the fact. But there is so much real neat stuff to it behind the scenes that you just don't see. Like you come to the back, all of this is all tab and slotted, same thing.
This is that tab.
Yep, tab and slotted, all gusseted right here. This comes down, and then we flatten out here on the bottom. And then we leave those tabs long on that, so hopefully if you drag, you can maybe drag those. But see, this is all flat here. So when this trailer sits level, this will be
So you strategically leave them long just as a wear point, but they should never be used in the first place. It's not meant to be. It's just, hey, here it is.
This is meant to drag, because you're going to drag this trailer. It don't matter. You're going to drag them all. You go through, there's no perfect world in trailers. And that's when we come back to more stuff.
Oh, you talking about when you go over railroad tracks or humping the road or you go onto a job site?
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You've been in and out of them.
Yep.
Trailers get a rough life. So they got to be built right.
Yeah, is that why they only last a couple years?
Tube on the bumper, so when you drag, it's not a piece of channel, so it's not formed. So like on this trailer here, we're going to be formed. It's a different thing. This one's formed, but it all is encased. So we're making a tube here. On this one, we're tube lasering a tube. So that's what we're doing on that one. So this is one full piece here. It doesn't get formed, doesn't get broke, doesn't get anything. It's coming off the laser like this. And when we designed this trailer too, I designed it and I said, I don't care, because you get so much of this in the industry where it's like, does it have a 4-foot, 3-foot dovetail? And whenever I did that, I was like, I don't care what the dovetail is. It's just got to plane out right. So that's how we made it. So this is like, I think it's like 4.5 or 3, about 4.5 foot on this. But that was to make it plane out right. We didn't try to stick to a standard dimension or anything like that. Didn't care about it because it was such a different model. So we leveled this trailer out. And we said, how high does it sit? We want a straight plane off of that. So that's what we did. So you don't have like these big humps or anything where your ramps or your breakover point.
How do you get is this hand welded or machine welded?
Yeah, that's hand welded. That's the thing. That's why we want to use robots to do, essentially we want to do components we want to component build these things. We want to build the frames, the dovetails. We want to marry it together. But things like this is what you need your guys doing. This is what you need them doing. You need your guys putting these parts on like these fenders. This is an impossible part. Not impossible to fixture, but it's hard to fixture. And see so many guys try to do too much with a robot. I don't want to do that. I want to have my guys where they're doing this quality work like this, finishing the outside of the trailer. That's what we want to use them for.
So I think next we need to go see the trailer that we're going to be going home with.
Let's go.
All right,
hey,
let's go.
We'll stop by I'll show you some of the other stuff that we've got here. We'll stop by the automation room.
Oh, cool. So I got to be straight with you, Josh. We came down to buy a dump trailer from you.
Yeah.
But after seeing how you make your equipment trailer,
I
think we got some thinking to do.
I would probably do the same thing.
I've never seen an equipment trailer made like that.
Right. It's essentially where we process all of our flat steel. So this is like a 6x13 laser in here, dual pallet machine. But this one's ready to go in. It's probably cutting something. He's about to cut it. What he's got there, that's what he's going to cut. So when we build trailers, we cut what we need. So essentially, we cut to order. We build to order. We cut to order. So that's what he's tested out this sheet. So that's what's going to cut next.
To make sure that you've got the absolute most quality. You actually build your own robots.
Well,
to build
yes.
your trailers. So you build robots.
We
to
build the systems.
you
We
build
build
the-
the robotic systems.
You build the robotic
Yes.
systems, and you also sell them to other manufacturers.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you have a robotics company
Mhm.
and a
Automation.
trailer company.
Yeah.
You started as a trailer company.
Yes.
And then you seen where there was things getting screwed up that you weren't okay with. So then you built a robotics company to improve the processes and take the mistakes out of building the trailers.
Yeah, that's a long story short. Yeah, essentially, that's how we done it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it developed out of the trailer business. So we developed robotics
What's
for
the
the
name
trailer.
of your robotics company?
Rice Automation.
Rice Automation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we solely only do welding. That's all we do because that's what we're good at. So that's all we do, and we provide all kinds of solutions for anything from wild stuff you wouldn't even.
So like this is done by a robot right here, right? This part, like we're looking at these cuts because you actually tried to do it
Yeah.
with your most skilled guy
by hand, yeah.
by hand,
With
and,
a fixture and a plasma cutter, hand plasma cutter.
and it didn't meet your satisfaction.
Well, no, because when you look at it, one, he's got to mark it all out. You got to read the tape right. And I'm not saying that he couldn't, but you know, mistakes happen. And these things, if you get one off on one, it's not going to go through. It's going to be crooked. You know. So the other thing is to, you know, the height from this. We're touching this. We touch this. We sense the height. That way, that cross member is dead on when it goes down through there. So your lumber is going to sit flush with the top of this. And we probably want it to sit maybe just a hair over it, so when you're pulling pallets off or whatever. But essentially, that's what we done. Yeah. So we built a system to pierce these beams, so we can pierce, I think, up to a 30-foot beam on it. It pierces all 19-pound, 14-pound beams. So this is how we do it, right?
My understanding of their process is they use laser precision as they're doing the manufacturing process to make sure that there's consistency from one trailer to the next trailer. It's not possible for two trailers to be built differently because they just won't line up. The tabs on the trailers have to line up to complete the manufacturing process. Okay, so we were talking about the weak part of
Yeah.
most dump trailers. Okay, so what are we looking at
So
here?
on your 8-inch I-beam, and this is one that we built before, we'll isolate these two things. So there's your frame, and there's your bed. So when we look down this here, this is your bed frame. So this is so your cylinder is going to be connected to this, and see how it goes out past. You've got a giant bend here, and this is really the only way to do it. You know, because if you set this piece on top of there, it's going to make the trailer too high. So you're essentially relying on this one bend here, and then down through there, any upright that you put on it really doesn't even matter because you're just welding sheet metal to sheet metal. You're not coming down to a true frame.
And so you're saying this is what most guys are still doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this is kind of the newer style that's kind of taken over. And then if you go back here, this is kind of the older school, but you can see how much more. See, that frame is sitting on top of that, and then our uprights are welding to this frame. So that's the difference there. So this has no opportunity to push out. So when we do this, come down through there and see how that pierces through there. So that's where our cylinder mounts.
So
It actually pierces through there and welds to these two cross members that are in there.
Yep. So that's not just a little bit, that's a lot of bit.
Yeah.
Okay. Putting it into my terms that I can understand it. What, you got a better way of saying it? You're over there laughing at me.
Because I'm on the same page as you.
So that's the same kind of generalized idea with the tabs as well. You're actually running everything through so
Yeah.
that you have.
Yeah.
Okay, makes sense.
So even
to
on
me.
all of this, you can kind of see our tab and slots, how that aligns it, and that's all going to allow that to sit. And then on top of that, cutting it with a laser, now we have all of these parts where they're going to be exactly how it comes out on 3D. That's really our main goal. We want it to come out as much like this 3D as possible.
Josh actually his robotic company.
Yeah.
You actually simulate the exact movements
Yeah.
before you ever build your robots to go out.
Yeah. So we proof it out, you know. So the thing about that is you want to know that your part's going to fit in the system. You're going to want to know if your robot can even reach it, you know, because you look at robots and they say this much reach. Well, you don't really know. You know, a robot's just like an extension of your arm. If you're all the way out here, how much work can you do rather than being right here with your arm?
So here's where he actually builds all of them, puts them together, designs the entire thing from the robots to the actual processes of turning the different pieces of equipment, like right here. So this will rotate the parts so that the robots can weld, right to the actual containers themselves or the stations themselves. So a company like Arctic Snow and Ice Products, which has robots, you build them for them. They may hire you to do something like that for to help their automation process.
What company did you say?
Arctic Snow and Ice.
Man, because I can't really tell you the name of the company, but this one's going to a company that's a similar name to that. This one is right here. So we even work with people that integrate their own stuff. So they'll integrate their own robot. We just send them a fully ready to go system. This one right here came from a very, very popular bush hog manufacturer that you would know if I told you the name.
Okay.
But this is their robot, and they sent it to us like this. But we're going to build an entire system around this. So we're going to build all the positioning equipment and everything for them.
Okay. And then so what you're seeing is that same level of technology.
Yeah.
Brought to what you actually manufacture for yourself, which is rice trailers.
Right. Same thing.
Mm-hmm. Okay, makes sense. All right. So we came down here to buy a dump trailer. What are we leaving with?
Take it from the one who hauls everything.
We're buying that one now?
That's the one we need.
That's the one we need. All right. Is that okay with you?
Great with me. Man.
All right. We're going home. We came down for a dump trailer.
It's all right.
We're going back with an equipment trailer.
I need one anyways. I can't get one. I own a trailer manufacturing company, and I can't get a dump trailer.
So walk us through this particular trailer, will you, Josh?
So we'll start at the front. Your engineered tongue, your adjustable bracket there, massive toolbox. So everything in there. We've seen the way that it's essentially built. And we do little things like keeping your breakaway out of your floor of that. So do little stuff like that. Your jack's bolt on. Got a socket there if you need
10
that.
millimeter socket.
I promise you it's not a snap-on. But like this, your jack bolts on, stuff like that. I would have put a hydraulic on there for you if I would have known that. 15-pound mainframe on this. Torque tube goes down the center.
Torque tube that we seen on the other one.
Got 3/16 spinners. I haven't really tried to drive over them. Probably shouldn't, but you could try it, you know.
What's the axles on this one?
They're 10Ks. So these are 10K torsions on this one.
Okay.
So 10K torsions, rubber ride on it. And then these are
So
these are
why
35s.
Why do you say 10K torsions and stress the torsion? What should we know about the axles,
Okay,
Josh?
so the torsion, when you're pulling it empty, it's probably going to jump, hop a little bit more than a spring axle will. But
Okay.
once you put a load on it, it's going to ride a heck of a lot better
Okay.
than what your traditional springs. Then you don't have all the maintenance there with your springs, your shackles, all that stuff. Well, not shackles.
So here's your springs.
Exactly. So you don't have all of this here that you've got to worry about keeping all these bolts tight, making sure everything. You don't have that with this. This is all portable. So rubber ride, they bolt onto. So even that frame there, see that's on a 4x4 tubing main frame that's underneath that all sits on too. So that all bolts to that.
Dexter axles.
Oh yeah, Dexter on everything.
Dexter on everything.
I wouldn't go with anything else. Really.
No. Okay, so there's no other options.
No,
Okay.
not really. No, I'm just real partial to Dexter. They've been really good to us. You got a true draw latch there.
Look at that. That is heavy duty.
Yep. So then you
Solid
can tighten that
locking.
up, loosen up.
Decent.
And then see, this is the other thing too here. So it's sprung off the deck. And then see these? Those are all tab and slotted in there. And that's for a reason too. That way these are always going to be in the same spot every single time. Get that, now you don't hear those things beating and banging around. Full tube bumper. And then even just the little things. I haven't even showed you this. This is the other thing. How many on the ramp rods, on your ramp rods, how many people do you see with that little pin that goes through them? You know, you got a little linch pin on the end of it. We use shaft collars on everything on these. Right here.
What he's talking about is it's usually a little pin right there.
Yeah, there's usually, well, you usually have this on the end and then there's a pin through it.
Yep.
On these units, we just use shaft collars, and then that keeps everything tight and it keeps it from moving around on us.
Uh-huh.
And we're not going to the center. So there's your sprung off the deck center that's cut out into your bumper. Full tube bumper, like you said. You got your this on here where you can drag all your tab and slotted and everything there, and that is flush. So none of that bumper hangs below your back end. So when you drag, you're dragging a tubing bumper.
So yeah, what he's saying is this is flush here instead of this part being underneath and ripping this off.
Yeah, you're just creating more of a drag point on there.
Yep.
So that's it. And you got some D-ring tie down going down through there. Oversized stake pockets. You know, you can put you'll be able to put your the hook style on this too, because that's one thing I hate about standard stake pockets. You can't barely use a hook on them. You know, your hook style straps.
Yeah, you can.
Not the flat ones.
You can.
Yeah, you can.
I mean, I don't know how many times I've had issues with that.
And then you go down. This is really where it all happens. Just your torque tube on the bottom.
There's the torque tube all the way down that you guys seen in the unfinished trailer.
Yeah.
Before.
And then this is what it looks like. And then I didn't tell you, you know, you got your spare tire too. Your spare tire will sit under here. So that's just your spare tire. And that kind of gets it out of the way so it's not on the side of the trailer.
Okay.
Not right there in plain sight, you know. Probably less likely to get stolen under there too. You know?
Yeah, out of sight, out of mind.
Yep.
That is a sexy trailer. That is just a sexy trailer.
That's the one I'd want too.
I mean, that's a gorgeous. So this is what we came down to buy.
I know.
So show me this trailer in case the guys are in the market for a dump trailer, Josh. Let's just take a look at this, because this was ours until
so we kind of looked
seen
at like
that.
the 3D behind
Yeah.
it, you know.
Yep.
So we kind of looked at that, and that's the whole thing. It was engineered. We didn't cut a piece of steel before we engineered it completely in 3D. You know, we've seen some shots of it being built out there, but then we've got standard kind of oversized tongue. Your telescopics, that's the thing about them. They run a bigger reservoir here, so that's the only thing. You're not pushing fluid. So the one thing about the telescopics that you have to remember, you're only powered in one direction. So a lot of people are used to the scissor hoist, which are really, as far as a lifting standpoint, they're kind of inferior to these. These will lift a lot more than what a scissor will, especially off-centered loads and stuff like that.
Yep.
But you got to remember, they're only powered in one direction. So we put this stuff on here like this. So whenever we ship it, that's how the guys unload it. Okay. So if they don't put those down, this whole bed will fall down. And that's the same thing on the back here. You come down here, that's why we have the stabilizers here. If you got stabilizer jacks, you just pop those out if you're loading a piece of heavy equipment in it to keep that bed from coming off your mainframe.
Okay.
Essentially. So that's what it is.
Now this is standard on everyone, right?
Oh yeah. What you're looking at is a standard model. Yeah.
Okay.
Everything.
So you make them all the same, pretty much, right? Okay.
Sure do.
Okay. But there's little things like we show me the latching system.
So that was one thing that we really hated about dump trailers is they use those little cheesy latches on there, those little cam latches, and they'll fill full of junk.
Every time you dump.
Get a rock in there or whatever.
I have one, and every time I dump, and you're fishing it out, and you get a little stick. Always.
So that's what we did on this.
So now you can't get that.
That's just 1 inch. This is all 1 inch material here. And then that's all 1 inch rod. So that's how it goes. And that's just we just designed our own cam lock. Essentially, is what we've done. And I didn't like the cheesy one. That's what we tried.
One piece bed.
Yeah, one piece, 3/16 sides and bottom. That's all standard.
Yep. And you have
things like this, your door holdbacks. A lot of people have those little auto latching things, and the cheesiest ones that I've seen are the ones that hinge right here. Because man, you're putting so much pressure on that's never going to work. So this essentially will fold back, and it just sits in that D-ring.
Yep.
So if you ever hit this with a you're probably going to mess up if you hit it with a skid steer, but you're less likely to rip all your door stuff off back here. That's your holdbacks. You know, because the closer you get to this hinge, the more pressure. It ain't no different than taking a stick and putting it on a teeter-totter. You know? No different.
And you were explaining about the sides and what you do different to improve that strength. So now that we're actually looking at one of these trailers, and we can cut to inside where we're looking at it on a CAD design. Hint, hint, Dan, the edited man. But tell me what it is that we're seeing, so it's really black and white and straightforward.
Yeah. So this is 3x3 tube, 3x2 tube, and this all goes down to a 6x2, and it's all welded. This is all welded. So we're not going to have any deflection outward. So if you get a real heavy load, or if you get your skid steer in there banging around, you're not going to. You
can't get these side walls to move.
You could with enough pressure, you could do it, but you'd have to really do it. So, and that's what I was showing you, like on those 8-inch beam trailers. That's kind of the downfall in those, because they're going to tend to torque out, and when they torque out, then that's when all of this starts messing up. Your doors start messing up, and then if you have auto latches or something like that. So that's what we tried to negate on this whole thing. And this is an old school, but hey, we just put the metal in there. That's what you really have to do on a dump trailer, because I get it from a hauling standpoint. People say, well, you know, I want to be able to haul as much as I can. And sure, we'll put 8Ks on it instead of 14s, you know. Just upgrade your axles, but keep the material in the trailer, because if you don't, you're just setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah, and this one we actually spec'd out to have two 8Ks on it.
Yeah, it's got two 8s drops on it.
But now we've got two 10s on the equipment trailer, which is the heaviest equipment trailer we've got.
Yeah.
And how big is that deck, Josh?
This is a 20 foot plus 4, I believe.
Is that going to work for you guys?
This one, I have to walk it off. It might be.
Oh, he's getting scientific with it.
No, it's 18.4.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is an 18.4 here. And then you gain a little bit up here at the front, 8 inches up here at the front, where you can load or whatever. You can mount a winch in there. I've got winch plates for them. But you can put a winch in this thing. Do a lot of things with this trailer. This is just a monster. It really is. And
this is a standard trailer you built, right?
Yeah,
because we weren't gonna buy it till we seen it.
Yeah. I need to make sure it's not sold. That's a problem. This thing, we might have a semi pulling in to get this here.
Oh crap.
That's all right though. We probably got another one out there, so it's neat though. These are really cool.
All right, Josh, where would guys, if they want to learn more about your trailers, your manufacturing, about anything you do, is there a website? Where would they go, Josh?
Yeah, so you can go to our website, give us a call, or we've got dealerships all across the U.S., you know, people that sell our trailers. So you can give us a call, and we'll locate the closest one to you.
Where do they go? Rice Trailers?
Yeah, you can go to ricetrailers.com and just give us a call. Yeah.
What's the number, do you know?
877-214-0629.
All right. Thank you,
Appreciate
sir.
It,
all right, guys. Well, you get to go behind the scenes. You get to see all of the things that these guys do that sets them apart from everybody else. And we came down for one thing, but we're going back with one other thing. So I think after seeing this trailer, we were all convinced. Tim's down there analyzed. Technical Tim's getting analyzing. Are we doing this one, Tim?
Talking about it, right?
he's always so analytical. What do we do with this? What do we do with that? And that's what you need on your team. So I'm leaning toward this one. Which one would you guys get? This equipment trailer, or would you guys do the dump trailer? Alex and I are leaning toward that one. But we'll see. We'll see. That's it for this one. You guys are just going to have to subscribe to see which one we end up going home with. Might be 2 against 1, or technical man might win out. Who knows? That's it for this one. God bless. Go get him, you guys. Catch you guys on another one.
I get the hazards. Those are the hazards on.
Oh, okay.
Hazard brakes are all the same.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.